Hey guys, hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm going to do one more landscape, style video here. Probably not going to see many more after this, if any. But I'm going to try to make today a little more of a how-to video for anybody out there in the industry just looking to get into this type of work. This is a block retaining wall. This particular one is Belgard Diamond Pro block, which is pretty standard, widely used in our area here in Georgia. But I think this would kind of go for any Allen block type of wall. So I'm going to take you guys through most of the process that we do, and hope this helps anybody out there looking to get into this type of work or just improve on what they're already doing. Obviously, there's a lot of equipment, trucks, trailers, all that kind of stuff that goes into making this stuff easier. You see some of that behind me. But, you could really order materials from a local supply yard, have delivered on site, and technically you could do this type of work with just shovels, rakes, and wheelbarrows. It would just be a lot more labor intensive than the way we do it. But I'll walk you guys over this job site and go over some of the processes that we use to complete a job like this. And by the end of the video, you'll see everything 100% complete for this retaining wall here. I'm going to flip you guys around real quick and we'll get back to it. All right, so I think I'm going to start with some of this material we have sitting out here. This is the open graded stone that we use to, all these walls need a gravel type of material to, help stabilize the drainage zone behind the wall, and also fill the cores of the block. That helps interlock the blocks. Here's a couple pieces of block laying here. You can see how they have the cores in them, and we will fill the cores. You'll see it as I bring it over there to the wall. But these blocks that we're using today, so they're 18 by 8 by 12, and they weigh about 80 pounds each. We get them on pallets just like this. They come 48 blocks to the pallet, and a pallet weighs right around 4,000 pounds. So you do need a full-size skid steer to move the stuff around. We use this Cat 265. It handles them no problem. Before we had this machine, we had, we still have a Bobcat T190. I think that machine will kind of scoot these around just barely off the ground, but they're not going to handle them at all like a large frame skid steer. But that kind of covers the gravel and the block. This particular stone is a number 56 stone. Our current quarry in our area is actually at 57 stone is typically what we use, but their screener there's something wrong with it, and the 57 stone has a lot of real fine rock in it, and we don't like that. But anyways, we're using 56 stone for this wall, and we typically use a mini skid steer like this to move the stone around, put it in place. Sometimes we'll use the full-size machine, but more often than not, we're using the mini skid steer to get the stone to its final location. But we have our own supply yard, so we'll bring materials like this in our own vehicles. We have a single axle dump truck here. We'll put 8 or 9 tons in it, and get the material to site that way. But this is a clean stone. It is washed. There's no fines in it. That helps a lot with drainage. If you have an unwashed stone with fines, it'll eventually kind of plug itself up and not allow water to freely flow through. So just trying to give you guys as much information as possible. I'm just been doing this a long time. I didn't plan out exactly what I'm covering this video, but I'm just kind of winging it here. But anyways, we have a 20-foot by 8.5-foot enclosed trailer that will bring to sites like this. Typically carries all of our tools, and it carries the mini skid steer as well. But I'm not going to go into detail on this, but it's basically a tool trailer. It has everything we need in it, so we don't have to remember every little thing. We just grab the trailer and go, and we know we have whatever we're going to need. There's, you know, laser transit in there, generator, levels, hammers, shovels, rakes, concrete saw, all of that type of stuff. It would be very difficult to do a wall like this without a concrete saw. Something to keep in mind. When it comes to cutting top cap and things like that. But I'm gonna give you guys a look at where we're at so far on this one. One thing I will say about these type of jobs is no two are exactly the same. You know, if you're going from house to house, or if you're doing commercial work, going business to business, I think commercial may be a little bit more consistent as far as your conditions, your work site, and you know what exactly you're doing on a project like this. But residential, you're going to have good access jobs like this one. You're going to have horrible access jobs where you have no room for machines or materials, and you just have to plan for that type of thing. You know, you have to charge accordingly, because access on a job like this can mean days more of work. So that's just something to keep in mind. But let me get you guys a look at what we've done so far. Sorry, I had to get one of my guys off the phone so y'all didn't have to hear him talking about motorcycles or whatever he's talking about. But anyways, this is what we got going on so far. The customer requested the wall to be 12 inches off of the driveway edge. Typically, doing a wall like this, we would put it right against the driveway edge. But I guess he just wanted a little more room here to back vehicles out of the garage or whatnot. But anyways, today is day 2. But we obviously will dig a footing, and we will make the footing at least 6 inches larger than the block on in front and back. So if this block is 12 inches deep, so we would do at least a 24-inch footing. This particular footing we dug 36 inches wide because the customer wanted it, you know, set back off of the driveway like this. But so as a general rule, you'll dig your footing at least 6 inches larger than your block, front and back, and then you will begin to, you know, you'll compact it. You can either do it with a hand tamp like this, or you can do it with a plate compactor. There's a plate compactor down there. I don't know if you can see it. He's trying to pull it out of the trench right now with an excavator. But anyways, you'll compact the soil after you dig your footing, and then you start putting in this 57 or 56 stone. You basically put in a gravel base, 6 inches thick, and then you level that, and you will start laying block on that base rock. So once you've got that first row or first course of block laid, really the hard part's over, and then it is more of you know, stack blocks and make sure they're seated well, and you backfill with gravel, fill the cores with gravel. Once you get up above grade, you want to put in a drainage pipe. We use corrugated drainage pipe. with a filter sock on it. You can see it here. And we will put in drain outlets in the wall we usually go about every 20 to 30 feet. And some people run the pipe directly through the face of the wall. We use these drain outlets that are specifically made for walls like this. It just gives a little bit cleaner of a look. But that pipe, as you can imagine, it runs along the base of this wall, and then there'll be a T at each of these drain outlets. It's kind of a fail-safe. It's not like you're ever going to see water pouring out of these drain outlets in a rainstorm. If it were, then the wall wasn't really constructed right. This is what really handles rainwater behind a retaining wall like this. It's all this gravel you see. This wall, we're putting about 3 feet of gravel behind it. This black material, this mesh looking material you see is called GeoGrid, and it's placed in between blocks on every couple rows, and it kind of ties the wall back into the slope, or back into the material behind it. But again, that drainage pipe runs the full length of the wall, and like I said, about every 20 or 30 feet we'll do a drainage outlet, just like this one here. And if everything is working like it should, the wall kind of percolates water through it as it rains, and the gravel behind it also just helps disperse the groundwater, and it will just slowly seep through the face of a wall like this. That's really how they're designed to handle rainwater. Let me see here. So we will go up until we have about 2 courses of block left, and we will stop putting this gravel backfill behind it, and we'll put a layer of filter fabric, which kind of separates the gravel from the soil above, and we use a non-woven fabric for that, and that will allow water to pass through, but it'll keep this stone clean and free draining. So what we end up with is about 12 to 16 inches of soil on top of that filter fabric when we have everything complete and backfilled. And I'll show you guys a shot of this wall after everything's complete and the top cap is installed. But as you change in elevation, you can't really see in the video very well, but this is a slope here, and the wall is kind of going into this slope. Sorry, my phone actually overheated there and it cut off. I'm not sure when it cut off, but as we're going up a slope here, we will step up our base course. We'll keep at least 1 block, or at least 3/4 of a block below finished grade, but there's no need to have 4 blocks below finished grade. So we will step up. As you can see here, this block here has another course below it to the middle of the block, and then then the base material steps up there, and that just helps you follow a slope like this without having to dig a really deep footer and waste a bunch of block below grade. So that's the way we do that. We'll put a fabric to separate the footing from the native soil, just like you can see here. So this wall will be complete once we get our block run to that end right there. But I will give you guys an update after we get a little farther along with this and go over a few more details. If you're starting out doing work like this, it's going to take more labor, more hours than you initially expect, and definitely pay attention to site conditions and access. Building a wall like this right in between two houses that are, say, 12 or 15 feet apart, we charge a lot more to do something like that than to build it with good access like this. But there's always going to be variables, especially with residential work. Soil conditions, you don't know how rocky the soil is, how difficult it's going to be to dig. Machinery definitely helps with that. This particular site, the customer, has a couple cracks forming in this section of driveway, so they didn't want us to drive this truck across this section of driveway here. So, we had originally planned on stockpiling some gravel right where that little mini skid is, and it just would make it a little closer to where it's going to go, and save us a little bit of time. But because the customer did not want the truck driven on this section of driveway, all of our gravel has to be stockpiled over here. So not a big deal, but just giving you guys an example of how there's always small adjustments you have to make to adapt to job sites like this, and they all cost you a little bit of money in the long run. Hey guys, back at this job site today. It's maybe about 9 o'clock the next morning, and wanted to just go over a couple more things that go into jobs like this as far as logistics. If you're not renting equipment, having it delivered to site and transported for you, obviously that's part of your job. So it's one thing that goes along with having equipment is always getting it on and off site, and getting leftover material off site, things of that nature. So just another thing to consider when doing jobs like this. I've brought a trailer with me today to pick up the Mini X. We're finished with it here. The skid steer needs to be here till the end of the day, and then I'll probably be coming back for it. We got top cap going on today, so this is the saw we use to cut our top cap. So I've got that in the truck, and some topsoil as well there behind me to finish out the area above this wall where the customer will be installing some plants or shrubs or something like that. So I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit when I get up there to the site. All right guys, back up here. Got to move some equipment around to make an area for me to dump this soil. But yeah, just want to mention, not only am I here bringing tools and materials, picking up equipment, I also have two employees that are in trucks right now. I got one bringing some more soil that we're going to need. He's actually about to pull up, and then another employee at a supply yard picking up the top cap that we need to complete this wall. So there's a lot of logistics that go into jobs like this, and whether you're having everything delivered or you're getting some things yourself, either way it costs money, and it's just something to consider. I am going to go over a little bit of pricing at the end of this video. That it may be helpful, it may not, but I'll go into what we charge for something like this. And obviously, pricing will vary from area to area. I'll share some of our material costs for a retaining wall like this, and yeah, I think it'll be helpful to anybody getting started to just give you a pretty close number on what to charge for something like this. Yeah, just wanted to touch on that, and got to get some equipment moved, some materials dropped off, and then I'll be picking up that Mini X here in just a minute. All right, got my little bit of topsoil dumped out here, and we're about to drop this one. This is kind of a mix of screen filter and screen topsoil. That's what this job called for. It definitely is nice to be able to kind of be in control of your own material deliveries. You're not relying on somebody else and having to wait on, a truck that's running late, or, maybe not get what you were expecting. So it is nice, but there's definitely more risk and more liability involved when you are doing your own trucking. So there's pros and cons to everything. All right, well, I think I'm getting ready to head off this job site for the remainder of the day. I think I'll come back at the end and get the skid steer. I'll still do a walkthrough when it's complete, but I just wanted to show you where we stand right now. Like I said, the customer wanted this wall set back off the driveway, so that's what we did. I still need to figure out what they want in between the wall and the driveway. I don't know if they want us to just fill it up with gravel or put a more decorative stone there or soil. We'll figure that out. But this is where we're at now. We're waiting on some more gravel to show up so we can get these cores filled, and then it'll be ready for top cap. But a couple areas behind the wall still need a little more gravel, and then we'll put that filter fabric that I was talking about. You probably won't see that in this video because I won't be here when that happens, but that's what we do to cover this gravel that's behind the wall, and all this area needs more gravel, but this needs a good bit more gravel here behind the wall. I'm wanting to show you guys how we, kind of, I know it's hard to tell in video, but we keep the base course down below grade when we're going into a slope like this. So this section you see right here will just be filled back in with that soil right there, and it'll just look like the wall kind of kills into this slope here. But this one's getting close. We just gotta get our top cap on and get everything backfilled and dressed up. The customer will still have a bit of a slope coming down off the grass line here to the wall. The top cap adds 4 inches to the height of the wall, but yeah, it'll look pretty flat up here actually after its top cap's on and this is backfilled. Yeah, I'm about to get this Mini X loaded up and I'll be off until end of the day. All right, got everything loaded up and chained down. Just about to head back to the shop for a few hours. Got some work to do there, but I will be back at this job towards the end of the day. We had a couple extra pallets of wall block I'm bringing with me, and this mini skid will sit at the shop for today. We'll have it off to another job tomorrow. All right, really quick, I'm back with an empty trailer, and hopefully I'll be leaving here with the skid steer as long as everything went as planned and they're just about wrapped up. I think it's just a little before 4 o'clock. I'm sure they've got another hour of little finishing touches, but should be able to get the skid steer while I'm here. They called and said they needed a little more dirt, so I threw some more soil in the truck, and we'll go there and see what it's looking like. All right, so a little change of plans there. I was here yesterday afternoon to pick up that skid steer, and when I got up here, the guys needed some help to get this one closed out, so I ended up getting on a machine and helping kind of finish grade some things, and lost track of time, and I had to run before I was able to film anything. So it's next day. Yeah, everybody rolled out of here yesterday. All the equipment's gone. Just came, did a final walkthrough with the customer, and just wanted to show you guys the final product. Yeah, I'll go over a couple more things that I remembered I kind of failed to mention as far as construction of these walls. This was kind of supposed to be a how-to video. So the first thing we do when we get to a site is find the lowest point of elevation in which the wall will be, and wherever that point is where we begin our excavation for the footing, and we'll start our first course of block. So I know I've gone over several times in this video how every job site is different, every site condition is different. Sometimes we're building a wall on much more of a sloped or undulating terrain than we have here. This was a pretty straightforward, there's a level base course pretty much from that end all the way to past the end of the driveway there before we started stepping up into that slope. So the lowest point of this one ended up being right there just past the driveway. So that's where we started our excavation, set our level for the first course, and then we just continued on with a level footing all the way to the end here. But that was just one thing I wanted to add as far as how to start one of these walls. You got to find that lowest point and build up from there. But all of the drainage is in, all the gravel's in behind the wall, and the customer will finish up with some landscaping and final touches. I think they're going to do some like a mulch bed up here with some shrubs and extend the grass line just a little bit. But this is how it looks when it's complete up on the top. So they're not going to have that drainage issue that they had before with the slope they had here. They had a lot of dirt and mud washing onto the driveway, the slower driveway, when it rained. So that issue is solved. But on a curve like this, we'll cut our top cap to fit tightly. Table type concrete saw is a little bit better for that. It can be done with a standard demo saw. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys the final product. I'm gonna go over just a little bit of pricing with you guys to close this one out. If I miss anything, definitely don't hesitate to comment down below. I'll answer any questions I can. To go over a little bit of pricing with you guys, the wall block that we used on this wall is Belgard Diamond Pro, and the color is called Carriage House. That block is right at about $9 per block, and one block for this particular size is a square foot of wall face. So that's also how I price the jobs, is per square foot of the face of the wall. And the block, like I said, $9 to $10. If you're going to pay for the supply place to deliver it, maybe figure $11 or so per square foot just for the block. And one thing, when people are starting out, that's how they're going to calculate their cost, is what does the block itself cost. So the block is around $10 a square foot, but also the geogrid, the filter fabric we use, the drainage materials, the gravel is a big one. All that adds up. So by the time you have all of those items in the equation, you're looking at closer to $15. I would say at least $15 a square foot to be safe, to cover the materials actually needed. And that's without any soil. That's just the gravel and the fabric, geogrid, and drainage. So some walls will need additional soil to backfill. This one did. That'll be an additional charge. Some walls will not need soil, and some walls will require soil to be removed from the site, and there'll be a charge for that as well. So it's just something to think about when you're building a wall like this. So you're right around $15 a square foot. And then what we charge for an easy access wall like this, and it's going to depend on the size of the wall too. This wall ended up being right around 400 square feet, and which is kind of an average size wall for us. And we're right around $40, like $36 to $40 a square foot for an easy access, decent sized wall like this. On a very small wall, we might go up to $60 a square foot or more. If it's just something really small, and we go bigger, and the price will come down a little bit. So that's the tough thing. If you've been just installing mulch and bushes and pine straw for customers, there's a standardized pricing you can set for that, whether, just not dependent on the job site whatsoever. You can kind of set a standard price for a yard of mulch installed. This type of work is just, unfortunately, not that easy. It's not that simple. So there can't really be a standard price you charge every customer. But anyways, I hope that helps some of you guys. And let me know if there's anything I missed. I can answer any questions you may have, and we will catch you on the next one.